She walked into the kitchen with that glow. You know the one, the smile that's supposed to make a husband's heart stop. "Honey," she said, voice trembling with emotion, "I have incredible news." I looked up from my coffee. It was 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'd been sleeping in the guest room for 6 months. "I'm pregnant," she whispered, tears already forming. "We're going to have a baby." The room went still. She waited for me to jump up, to hug her, to cry with joy. Instead, I took a slow sip of my coffee, set the mug down carefully, and said 5 words that made her face go white. "Congratulations. Who's the father?" Her smile cracked like glass. What did you just say?" I pulled out my phone, opened my calendar, turned the screen toward her. March 15th. That's the last time we shared a bed. It's now September 22nd. That's 6 months and 7 days. I zoomed in on the calendar. Every night for the past 6 months was marked with a simple note, guest room. "So I'll ask again," I said, voice steady as stone. "Who's the father?" Her mouth opened. No sound came out. And that's when I pulled out the second phone, the one she didn't know I had, the one that had been recording everything. If you want to know what that recording captured and why her lawyer tried to get it thrown out of court, hit subscribe, because what I'm about to tell you made the judge stop the entire proceeding. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 39 years old and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a software engineer. I work from home most days, which means I'm around the house more than most husbands. That's important. Remember that. My wife, Melissa, is 36. She's a real estate agent. Successful one, too. She's got the luxury SUV, the designer handbags, the whole package. We've been married for 8 years. No kids, not for lack of trying. We'd been to fertility specialists, done the tests, spent thousands on treatments. The diagnosis was clear. I had a low sperm count. Not impossible, but unlikely without medical intervention. We'd tried IVF twice. Both times failed. After the second failure, Melissa shut down. "I can't do this anymore. It's too hard, too emotional." I understood, or I thought I did. "We can take a break," I told her. "Focus on us for a while." She nodded, but something changed after that. She started working later, going to more networking events, spending weekends on open houses. And then, one night in March, she said it. "I think we should sleep in separate rooms for a while." I stared at her. "What?" "Just temporarily," she said quickly. "I'm stressed. I'm not sleeping well. I just need some space." "Space? Melissa, we're married." "I know, and I love you, but I need this, please." I didn't fight it. Maybe I should have, but I moved into the guest room, and I stayed there for 6 months. At first, I told myself it was temporary, that she needed time to process the fertility stuff, but weeks turned into months. We barely touched, barely talked beyond logistics. "Can you think up groceries? I'll be home late tonight. Did you pay the electric bill?" We were roommates, not spouses. And then I started noticing other things. New lingerie in the laundry, perfume I didn't recognize, late-night texts she'd hide when I walked into the room. One night, I heard her on the phone in the bedroom. The door was cracked. Her voice was low, intimate. "I miss you too," she whispered. "I can't wait to see you." My stomach dropped. I stood in the hallway, listening, as my wife told another man she loved him. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I did what any software engineer would do. I gathered data. I started documenting everything, dates, times, behaviors. I checked our phone records, found a number that appeared constantly, late nights, early mornings. I ran the number through a reverse lookup. His name was Tyler Hoffman, 32 years old, personal trainer at the gym Melissa had joined 3 months earlier. Of course. I looked him up on social media. Chiseled jaw, abs you could see through his shirt, the kind of guy who posts shirtless selfies with motivational quotes. I felt sick, but I kept digging.
I installed a GPS tracker on her car. Legal in Texas, as long as you co-own the vehicle. I tracked her movements, cross-referenced them with her calendar. Showing a house in Westlake equals 2 hours at Tyler's apartment complex. Client dinner in downtown equals hotel bar, then the same hotel room for 3 hours. Girls' weekend in Houston, Tyler's social media showed him in Houston the same weekend. Every lie documented. Every betrayal time-stamped. I built a spreadsheet, color-coded, cross-referenced. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. But I needed more than circumstantial evidence. I needed proof. So I bought a voice-activated recorder, small, discreet, magnetic. I placed it under the driver's seat of her car. Texas is a one-party consent state for recordings, but there's a gray area with vehicles. I didn't care. I needed the truth. For 2 weeks, I listened to nothing but radio stations and phone calls with clients. Then, one night, I heard it. Her voice, his voice. "I can't keep doing this," Melissa said. "Nathan's getting suspicious." "So leave him," Tyler replied. "You said the marriage was over anyway." "It's not that simple. There's money involved, the house, his stock options." My hands clenched. "What if we just wait it out?" Tyler suggested. "You said he's barely around emotionally anyway." Melissa laughed. "He's basically a ghost. We haven't had sex in 6 months." "Good. More for me." They both laughed. I stopped the recording, sat in my car in the driveway, and made a decision. I called a lawyer the next day. Her name was Sharon Reeves. She'd handled a colleague's divorce. He'd recommended her with one sentence: "She doesn't lose." I sat in her office and played the recordings. She listened without interrupting. When it finished, she leaned back. "How long has this been going on?" "At least 3 months, maybe longer." "And you've been in separate bedrooms for 6 months?" "Correct." She made a note. "That's going to matter." "Why?" "Because if she tries to claim any child is yours, we can establish a pattern of separation. No cohabitation, no intimacy." I frowned. "She's not pregnant." Sharon looked at me. "Not yet."
I didn't understand what she meant, not until 3 weeks later. I was working from home. Melissa had a showing that afternoon. I heard her come in around 4 p.m., heard her go straight to the bedroom. Then I heard something else. Crying. I walked down the hall, knocked on the door. "Melissa, you okay?" "I'm fine," she called out, voice thick. "You don't sound fine." A pause. "Just give me a minute." I waited. 5 minutes later, she emerged, eyes red, but she was smiling. "Nathan," she said softly, "can we talk?" We sat in the living room. She took my hands. "I know things have been hard between us," she started. "I know I've been distant." I said nothing. "But I have incredible news." Her eyes filled with tears. "I'm pregnant." The words hung in the air. I looked at her, really looked at her. She was glowing, radiant, the picture of a joyful, expectant mother, and I felt nothing but cold clarity. "Congratulations," I said evenly. "Who's the father?" Her smile froze. "What?" I pulled out my phone, opened my calendar. March 15th. That's the last time we shared a bed. I turned the screen toward her, showed her 6 months of guest room notes. It's September 22nd. That's 6 months and 7 days. I zoomed in. So unless this is the second coming, the math doesn't add up. Her face went from confused to pale to red. Are you accusing me of cheating?" "I'm not accusing you of anything," I said calmly. "I'm asking a simple question. If you're pregnant and we haven't had sex in 6 months, who's the father?" "This is insane," she stood up. "How dare you?" "Tyler Hoffman," I said. She stopped mid-sentence. "Personal trainer,
32 years old, lives at the Riverside Apartments. You've been seeing him for at least 3 months." Her mouth opened, closed. "I have recordings, Melissa, GPS logs, hotel receipts. I know everything." She tried to recover, tried to spin it. "Okay, fine, yes, I've been seeing someone, but this baby isn't mine, because we haven't had sex in 6 months. You just said so yourself in the car 2 weeks ago." Her eyes went wide. "You've been recording me?" "You've been cheating on me," I countered. "I'd say we're even." She sat back down, deflated. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she tried a different approach. "Nathan, please, I made a mistake, but this baby, we can raise it together. You always wanted to be a father." I almost laughed. "You want me to raise another man's child after you've been lying to me for months? People do it all the time." "Not me." I stood up. "I've already filed for divorce. You'll be served tomorrow." Her face went white. "You what?" "I filed 3 days ago. I was waiting to see if you'd tell me the truth." I headed for the door. "Nathan, wait." "Congratulations on the baby, Melissa. I hope Tyler's excited." I walked out. She was served the next morning at her office. I know because her lawyer called me within an hour. "Mr. Cross, this is Richard Dalton. I represent Melissa Cross. I'd like to discuss a settlement." "I'm listening." "My client is willing to agree to a clean split. No alimony, no claims on your assets. She just wants to move forward." "That's generous," I said. "What's the catch?" "She'd like you to refrain from discussing certain private matters." "You mean the affair?"
Mr. Dalton, I'm not interested in public humiliation, but I'm also not interested in being defrauded. If she tries to claim that child is mine, I'll use every piece of evidence I have. Understood. We agreed to meet the following week. The meeting was in a conference room downtown. Melissa, her lawyer, me, and Sharon. Melissa looked tired. The glow was gone. Richard started. "We're prepared to offer a straightforward division of assets. The house will be sold, proceeds split 50-50, retirement accounts divided, no alimony." Sharon nodded. "And the child?" Richard hesitated. "My client acknowledges that Mr. Cross is not the biological father." I felt a grim satisfaction. "She's willing to sign an affidavit to that effect," Richard continued. "In exchange, Mr. Cross agrees not to contest custody or support." "Done," I said. Melissa looked up, surprised. "Really?" "Really," I said. "I don't want anything to do with that child. It's not mine. It's not my responsibility." Her eyes filled with tears. "Nathan!" "Sign the papers, Melissa." She did. But it wasn't over. 2 weeks later, Sharon called. "We have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Melissa's lawyer is claiming you're the father. They're demanding a paternity test." I frowned. "She signed an affidavit." "She's recanting, says she was coerced." I felt my jaw tighten. "She's lying." "I know, but we need to prove it." "How?" "Paternity test. But here's the thing. If the test shows you're not the father, we can use that to prove fraud. We can go after her for legal fees, emotional distress, everything." I smiled. "Set it up." The paternity test was done at a clinic in North Austin. I gave a cheek swab. Melissa provided medical records showing the baby's DNA. We waited 2 weeks for results. When they came back, Sharon called me immediately. "You're not the father. 0% match." "Good." "Better than good. We can now prove she tried to defraud you. I'm filing an amended petition." "Do it." The next hearing was different. Melissa's lawyer looked rattled. Melissa looked defeated. The judge reviewed the paternity results, reviewed the timeline, reviewed the recordings. "Mrs. Cross," the judge said, voice stern, "did you or did you not attempt to claim your husband was the father of your child, knowing he was not?" Melissa's lawyer jumped in. "Your Honor, my client was confused." "I'm asking Mrs. Cross."
Melissa looked at the table. Yes. And did you sign an affidavit acknowledging he was not, then later recant that statement? Yes. The judge set down his pen. This is fraud, Mrs. Cross. You attempted to deceive this court and your husband for financial gain. He turned to Sharon. What are you seeking? Full reimbursement of legal fees, Your Honor, plus sanctions for fraudulent claims. The judge nodded. Granted. Mrs. Cross will pay all legal fees incurred by Mr. Cross. Additionally, she will receive no portion of the marital home or retirement accounts. Melissa's head snapped up. What? You committed fraud, Mrs. Cross. This court does not reward that behavior. Richard tried to object. The judge shut him down. This hearing is concluded. I walked out of that courthouse with everything. The house, my retirement accounts, my dignity. Melissa walked out with nothing but a baby that wasn't mine and a legal bill she couldn't afford. Sharon shook my hand on the courthouse steps. That's the cleanest win I've seen in years. Thank you. What will you do now?
I looked up at the Austin sky. Clear, blue, endless. Move forward. 6 months later, I sold the house. Too many memories. Too many ghosts. I bought a condo downtown. Smaller, simpler, mine. I threw myself into work, got a promotion, started traveling for conferences. And slowly, I started to feel like myself again. One day, I was at a coffee shop near my office when I saw her. Not Melissa, someone else. Her name was Rachel. She was a graphic designer. We'd met at a tech meetup. We started talking about work, about Austin, about life. She didn't know my story, didn't know about Melissa or the divorce or any of it. She just knew me as Nathan, software engineer, coffee enthusiast, guy who laughs at bad puns. And that felt good. We started seeing each other, slowly, carefully. I didn't rush, didn't push. I'd learned my lesson about trust. But Rachel was different. She was honest, direct, no games. One night, over dinner, she asked, "Have you ever been married?" I paused. "Yeah, it didn't work out." "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'm better off." She smiled. "Good, because I like who you are now." And I realized something. Melissa had tried to trap me with a lie, but the truth had set me free. I heard through mutual friends that Melissa had the baby, a boy. Tyler wasn't in the picture, left when things got complicated. She was raising the kid alone, working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Part of me felt bad for her, but a bigger part remembered the recordings, the lies, the attempt to make me responsible for a child that wasn't mine. She made her choices. Now she was living with them. A year after the divorce, I got a message on LinkedIn from Melissa. "Nathan, I know I don't deserve a response, but I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better. I hope you're happy." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but because I'd moved on, and she was part of a life I didn't live anymore. 2 years later, Rachel and I got married. Small ceremony, close friends, no drama. We honeymooned in Italy, ate too much pasta, drank too much wine, laughed until our sides hurt. And one night, sitting on a balcony overlooking the Amalfi Coast, she took my hand. "I'm glad I met you," she said. "Me too. Do you ever think about before?" I looked out at the water. "Sometimes, but not the way you'd think." "What do you mean?" "I don't miss it. I don't regret it ending. I just learned from it." "What did you learn?" I turned to her. That the truth always comes out, and when it does, you want to be on the right side of it. She squeezed my hand. "I'll drink to that." We clinked glasses, and I realized something. Melissa had tried to rewrite history, to make me the father of a child that wasn't mine. But history doesn't rewrite itself. The truth does that for you. If you've ever been lied to, if you've ever had someone try to trap you with deception, if you've ever had to choose between the comfortable lie and the hard truth, this one's for you. Comment truth if this story hit home. Hit subscribe for more stories about the quiet power of knowing when to walk away. Because the best revenge isn't proving them wrong, it's building a life where their lies don't matter anymore. 3 years after the divorce, I was cleaning out old files when I found the recordings, the ones I'd made in her car, the ones that proved everything. I held the USB drive in my hand, thinking about everything it represented, the betrayal, the lies, the moment my marriage died. Then I walked to the kitchen, turned on the gas stove, and held the drive over the flame. It melted slowly, plastic bubbling, metal warping. Rachel walked in. "What are you doing?" "Letting go," I said. She watched the drive melt into nothing. Then she wrapped her arms around me from behind. "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For choosing to move forward instead of looking back." I turned off the stove, tossed the melted plastic in the trash. "I don't need proof anymore," I said. "I know what happened. That's enough." And it was. Last month, Rachel told me she was pregnant. We were sitting in the same kitchen where Melissa had told me her lie 3 years earlier, but this time, everything was different. "Are you happy?" Rachel asked, nervous. I pulled her close. "I'm terrified and excited and so happy." "Good," she whispered, "because I am too." We sat there for a long time, just holding each other, and I thought about how different this moment was from that other one. No lies, no doubts, no questions about paternity or trust or truth. Just 2 people building a life together, the right way. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday in March, same month Melissa had asked for separate bedrooms. But this time there was no separation, no distance, just Rachel, me, and a tiny human who had my eyes and her mother's smile. I held her in the hospital room, this perfect little person, and felt something I'd never felt before, complete peace. "What should we name her?" Rachel asked. I looked down at my daughter. "Hope." Rachel smiled. "Hope Cross. I like it." "Me too." Because that's what she was. Proof that after betrayal, after lies, after everything falls apart, you can still build something beautiful. You just have to be willing to start over with the truth.
If this story reminded you that endings can become beginnings, comment "new chapter." If you've ever had to rebuild after betrayal, you're not alone. Hit subscribe. Stay with me. Because the best stories aren't about perfect people. They're about real people who chose to keep going, even when it hurt, especially when it hurt. 5 years later, I was at a park with Hope. She was running around the playground, pigtails bouncing, laughing at everything. Rachel was beside me, pregnant with our second. "Daddy, push me," Hope called from the swings. I jogged over, started pushing her higher. "Higher," she squealed. "You're sure?" "Higher." I pushed harder. She laughed that pure, uninhibited laugh that only kids can manage. And I thought about the man I was 5 years ago. Broken, betrayed, sitting in a guest room wondering how his marriage had died. That man wouldn't recognize me now. This man, father, husband, builder of a life that's real, he's someone I'm proud to be. "Daddy, watch this." Hope jumped off the swing mid-air, landed in the sand, threw her arms up like an Olympic gymnast. 10 out of 10, I called. She ran back, hugged my legs. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Hope." Rachel walked over, took my hand. "You good?" she asked. I looked at my daughter, at my wife, at the life we'd built from scratch. "Yeah," I said, "I'm good." And I meant it. Because the truth didn't just set me free, it gave me everything